All right, so let's shift gears and bring you this completely different discussion now. Prepare to be left spellbound by Rob Lake. He's one of the world's most celebrated illusionists. Lake is known for his mind-bending illusions that have left many audiences in awe wherever he goes. I hope I'm not a victim at any moment in time. His passion for magic started in childhood. In fact, it's sparked by TV magic performances. Rob Lake joining us now in studio as his ongoing show continues at Montecasino's Teatro. But welcome to Studio 9 in Auckland Park.
Thanks for having me here.
Great to have you with us. I wonder how many people who meet you are a bit anxious, actually, once they find out what you do.
You know, a lot of people feel that way about magic, but for me, that's not how I do it. I want it to be fun. You know, when people come to the show, even people who are skeptical, within a few minutes, they just let go. They just have a really good time because no one likes to be fooled or tricked. And so even though I might do a magic trick, I make it more about the enchantment, the wonder, the experience of fun together.
Right. And there must be a science to this. You know, I mean, the skeptics among us believe, you know, there's always a catch in some ways.
Sure,
but
sure.
Even if there is, my goodness, it takes a lot to kind of have people spellbound, as I said in my intro.
It does. I've been working my entire life on creating magic and creating illusions, and that's why I have one of the biggest magic shows in the entire world. It's about understanding how people think, and not in a way to trick them or take advantage of that, but really to understand the psychology of people and how I think we all really want to believe that even a little bit magic and things like that can be real.
Yeah, that's fascinating that, you know, you have to kind of go into people's minds in that way. Does that come with any kind of, I don't know, formal education? Is this something that you pick up just through practice? I mean, typically, when people want to go into your own mind, what are some of the considerations they need to make?
Well, I've been studying magic and illusion since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I started when I was 10 years old, and I started reading, you know, books that were written for adults, so I could really train myself to think like an illusionist. So for me, it's just second nature now on how to create deception or misdirection or create these moments of mind-blowing magic.
Yeah, and how many of that kind of experience did you get during your childhood? I mean, were you typically in the playground playing tricks on your friends, for example?
Oh, I forced everyone to watch my magic. Everyone had no choice. My neighbors, my family, my teachers, my friends. I would force them to always be my audience, and I would do shows all the time.
Yeah, which sounds like part of the journey has been met with a lot of support, right? I mean, this is not conventional. I'm sure you'll be the first to admit that.
Yeah.
But to be able to perform at the level that you do, I'm sure you must have quite the backing.
You know, I had no formal education for magic. It had to be all self-taught. I had a couple of really great mentors and advisors, but I had to do the work and the studies and the persistence and the pursuits all on my own. It was a great hobby. I think everyone thought, oh, isn't that cute?
Right.
He'll grow out of that at some phase. But when I left college to do this full time, I think people were really shocked and alarmed and worried. Like, can he make it as a career? Is this a terrible life decision? But a couple years later, when things started working out, when my family came to see me at a really big casino town, and they drove past all the billboards to see me, I think they realized, okay, maybe it's going to be okay now.
Yeah, interesting you say that, because I was telling you about a huge billboard on my way here that I see of you, which I'm sure you can add to the catalog. But in some ways you've answered this, but I'm more interested to hear a few more details around when that shift was starting to happen for your own family, right? Especially because, let's face it, you know, somehow you got to make a living in this world.
Oh, absolutely.
And magic isn't necessarily top of mind for any parent.
No, it's not. And I think they weren't just wanting to discourage me, but I think they were really worried, could I make a living? Could I make a life out of this? And I think if I wasn't so dedicated and committed and had so much persistence through all the struggles, I don't think it would have happened. But it probably took 3 or 4 years of struggling and sleeping on couches with friends and relatives and, you know, trying to make a name for myself before I got my first job that was a real job. And then I think I've been very lucky since then just to keep working and growing since.
Yeah. Take us into your world, Rob. I mean, we see obviously what you want us to feed, quite frankly.
Yes.
And I imagine there's a whole lot more taking place behind the scenes. I mean, generally speaking, there must have been people that you're watching who do pretty cool tricks. And I wonder if there's a community in that space where you guys are able to feed off each other.
A little bit so, but a lot of it is kind of a lone wolf. A
That's
lot of
the
it
sense
just
I'm
have to be
getting.
on my own. I have some great friends in the magic and theater worlds, and my first love is the theater, which is why my show, you know, the one here at Teatro, is so massive. It's very theatrical. It's not just tricks. It's grand illusions, you know, levitations and my motorbike and teleporting and bringing a dozen people from the audience on stage for an effect. But it's also lots of the scenery, the lighting, the production. It's the whole environment, the whole emotion that we bring to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine you also have to keep in mind who you're performing to, right? In order to kind of, I don't know, curate your performance. How much of that consideration involves, for example, the country you're in? Because the way South Africans perhaps react to magic might be very different to how they do in the US.
Yeah, well, I've done over 60 countries with my show, all around the world. And so no matter the language or your culture or your background, we all live by the same rules. Like, for example, gravity. We all have gravity. So if I make a person levitate, no matter what language you speak, you understand that's magic and that's impossible. If I teleport across the stage or make, people from the audience be part of the magic, no matter the language, even if there's a translator involved, it still is magic. So magic is universal. I will say the audiences here in South Africa, we've been packed at the teatro. It's been amazing. They are so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
The energy, the electricity from the beginning of the show all the way through the end is unlike anything else in the world.
Sure. You say theatre is a big part of what you do, and I imagine there's a bit of acting that comes with that as well. Yeah, naturally, Would you consider yourself an actor?
One of the great founders of magic as performance, even the guy who Houdini created his name after, he said the magician is an actor playing part of a magician. So I think part of it is yes, because I am on stage performing and presenting myself, but my onstage persona is a magnification of part of me. In real life, I'm much more introverted. When I'm not on stage, I kind of want to be left alone. I like to be quiet, I have my own time, but on stage, I bring out parts of me for the audience. So that's kind of the performance. It's an authentic show of who I am, and I take the audience on this journey through magic and wonder and enchantment and illusion, and we have a great time together.
Yeah. When you're on stage, of course, we're all focused on you, but I imagine there's a whole lot of people behind the scenes doing all manner of things to make sure that you shine.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a wonderful crew. They travel with me all around the world.
Yeah.
They've been with me for many years. I've got dancers and crew and lighting people and sound people, and I've had a great team, and they help me make the show happen every night.
How big is that team, typically speaking? At least let's focus on the performance you have in Joburg, for example.
Sure. It takes about 20 people to put on the show here.
Wow. Sure. That's a few people.
It is.
Are they in on the tricks? Obviously.
Yeah, some of them to a little bit of extent, but no one knows everything. They all know their part. I've got to keep the magic a secret, so they all know their part, but they don't know the whole picture. And some people who've done my show for years have no idea how anything is in the show.
Really? My goodness, so if anything happens to you, there go all the tricks.
That's right.
All right, speaking of that, let's perhaps see what people can expect, and I'm sure you can tell us a few of the details of the show as well at the Teatro, but I see you've got a deck of cards there.
Yeah, I have, what we do in the Teatro is huge, it's massive. It's one of the biggest magic shows in the world. We can't bring all that here to the studio, so I brought a little something else here.
All right.
This is a little bit of a card trick we're gonna do together here. I'm just gonna hand you let's just give you about half of these cards here, if you'll take these. Maybe let's take these here, put them in your hands. Just put one hand on top of the other, squish it flat like that. Perfect.
Okay, now, we just close this so that we're able to catch everything. Okay, here we go.
Now I'm going to show you the cards in my hand, and I want you to pick one. It's really important you don't look for a card that you have in your mind, because that might be in your half, but you actually see it over here in my hand. So just choose one of the cards I have here. Just pick one.
Okay, any one.
Just with your mind. Just with your mind.
In my head. Okay.
But don't tell me. But make sure you see it over here.
All right.
You got one?
you. Yeah.
Now we didn't prearrange this. I didn't ask you before. We just met on air. I didn't ask you to pick a card. You're not secretly helping me out. You're not in on it, as they say, right?
Right.
And you could have chosen any of the cards in my hand, which is about half of a deck of cards, which is around 26 cards. And right now, if I were to name your card, that'd be pretty amazing, pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
But if you told me the name of your card and then I make it disappear, that'd be impossible. But if I can make your card completely disappear without you even telling me, that would be really impossible.
I agree. Okay. Absolutely, yeah.
So right now, I just want you to visualize your card. Think of your card in your mind. Think of it. And I'm going to, did you feel that? Do you feel that little zap of energy here?
I did, actually.
Okay.
Weirdly enough.
I think your card just vanished. Don't tell me the name of your card. Just think of it. But tell me, do you see it here in my hands?
No ways, Rob.
Do you see it over here?
No.
And you actually saw it in my hands earlier, yes?
Yes.
Do you have any idea where your card could have gone to?
No.
Any idea?
No ways.
Open your hands, spread through those cards. For the first time, what was the card you were thinking of?
That's right.
What is it?
It's Joker of Spades.
The Jack of Spades.
Jack of Spades, sorry. I'm not sure what to make of this. But my goodness. Wow. Yeah, there it is. The Jack of Spades is what I had chosen. And when you showed me your deck of cards again, it had completely vanished. And here it is in my hand. So When
And
can
you
I
felt
join
it. You felt it.
I did feel it. Obviously, the next question people want to ask is, how do you do that? You know,
Yeah. Well, I'll never tell.
Yeah.
I'll never tell. But you know, that's the thing about the show. The entire show is filled with grand scale magic and illusions like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And how much kind of buy-in do you need from the audience to be able to pull
None.
off a successful?
I like it when people are skeptical, because if you go see a play like Peter Pan, you know, you check your reality at the door and you let it go, but you don't mind seeing wires and things. But people, when they come to my show, they hold on to reality,
Right?
And they want me to change the laws of the reality they're in, which is why it's so much fun.
Sure. There must be kind of considerations you make around things like safety and things like that.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've seen people do all kinds of things on stage, which have quite frankly made me quite scared because it looks quite unsafe. What kind of considerations do you have to make in some of these tricks?
Well, I create and design my illusions, and they can take 10 years or more to make it into the show. So safety is one of the things for myself,
Yeah.
for the audience, for the performers. So even if I use fire or pyrotechnics like we do, there's a whole safety protocol that everyone knows, so we're all safe.
Sure, absolutely. Wow, this is fascinating. I'm still holding on to the card, by
Yes,
the way,
yes.
because I can't believe, I'm scared it's going to disappear again. Back into your deck of cards. But Rob, fantastic work. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, thanks for having me. I hope you'll
you
make it to the teatro before
Absolutely.
we leave South Africa.
Yes, the dates very quickly.
Now through 27 October, and tickets at Ticketmaster, they're going fast. Only a few left, and only a few shows left.
All right, fantastic. Rob Lake, once again, great work. Thanks for popping by.
Thanks for having me.
Don't make me disappear, please. They still need me in some ways here on the SABC, I hope. There you have it. Rob Lake, one of the world's most celebrated illusionists at the Teatro at Monte Cassino.